The woman I loved for 14 months had never existed, but her engagement ring was bought with my money by my best friend. I found the receipt in a folder labeled tax prep, right beside screenshots of my private messages, my voice notes, and a photo of me asleep on a red-eye flight to Denver. My stomach went cold before my brain caught up. Then I saw her name, Elena Marquez. My name is Owen Mercer. I'm 34, a commercial architect in Chicago, and until last spring, I thought I had a pretty solid life. I had a 2-bedroom condo in Logan Square, a reliable old Subaru, and a small design firm called Mercer Hale Studio that I co-owned with my best friend, Lucas Hale. Lucas was 35, charming in that effortless way that made clients trust him after one handshake. We met at the University of Illinois in 2010, survived brutal studio deadlines together, and once split a $4 sandwich because we had exactly $4.18 between us. When my dad passed in 2021, Lucas was the guy who showed up at my place with soup, paper plates, and no questions. "Family doesn't knock," he'd say, letting himself in with the spare key I stupidly gave him. Our firm wasn't huge, but it was growing. In 2023, we cleared $612,000 in revenue, and my salary was finally a comfortable $118,000. Lucas handled client relationships and proposals. I handled technical drawings, budgets, and all the boring things that keep buildings from turning into lawsuits. Then I met Elena on a language exchange app on February 11th, 2023. Her profile said she was 32, originally from San Antonio, living in Minneapolis, working as a museum educator. Her photos showed a woman with dark curls, gold-rimmed glasses, and a smile that looked warm enough to trust. Our first chat was about architecture in old train stations. By the end of the week, we were messaging every night. "Your brain is a place I'd like to visit," she wrote once. I remember reading that in my kitchen, coffee steaming beside me, the radiator clanking, and feeling my whole chest loosen. The first strange thing happened on April 3rd. Elena canceled our first video call 7 minutes before it was supposed to start. "My apartment Wi-Fi died," she texted. "Can we just talk on the phone?" I'm embarrassed. Her voice was soft, a little raspy, with a faint Texas accent. The call had a hollow sound, like she was in a bathroom or a tiled hallway, but I ignored it because I wanted to believe her. Then came other little oddities. She never answered calls unexpectedly. She sent selfies, but never in real time. On June 19th, she told me she was at a museum gala, but when I asked for a picture, she sent one in daylight with autumn leaves behind her. "That's an old one," she said. I felt pretty in it. In August, she asked for $3,800 because her contract paycheck got delayed and her rent was due. My thumb hovered over the transfer button while my ceiling fan clicked above me. "I hate asking," she whispered on the phone. "You're the only person I trust." So I sent it. Then $2,100 in October for car repairs. Then $6,500 in January for an emergency move after her landlord sold the building. Each time, my stomach tightened, but she always paid back small amounts. $200 here, $350 there, just enough to make it feel legitimate. The discovery happened on March 15th, 2024 at 8:42 p.m. I know the time because the microwave clock was glowing behind Lucas's shoulder. We were in the office late, finishing a proposal for a $4.7 million renovation of the Ralston building in Oak Park. Rain tapped against the windows. The office smelled like stale coffee, printer toner, and the lemon cleaner our night crew used. Lucas had stepped into the conference room to call a consultant, leaving his laptop open on the drafting table. A notification popped up. "Elena M., tell Owen I'm sorry. I can't do the call tonight." My ears started ringing. At first, I honestly thought my eyes had misread it. I leaned closer, and my hands began to shake so badly the metal ruler beside the laptop rattled. The message sat there in a chat window under a profile picture I knew better than some of my own relatives' faces. Lucas walked back in holding his phone. I looked at him and said, "Why is Elena messaging you?" His face changed so fast it was like watching a mask slide off. The color drained from his cheeks. "Owen," he said carefully, "that's not what it looks like." My mouth went dry. Then make it look like something else. He reached for the laptop, but I pulled it back. Don't touch it, I said. He laughed once, thin and nervous. Man, you're tired. We're both tired. Let's talk tomorrow. I clicked the chat. There were folders. My name, my photos, notes about my schedule, screenshots of messages I had sent Elena at 2 in the morning when I was grieving my dad, when I was lonely, when I was stupidly honest. Then I saw a line in a document titled, Owen Emotional Beats. Dad anniversary, be extra supportive. Mention trains. He opens up when talking about Union Station. The room tilted. I could hear the rain, the buzz of the fluorescent lights, Lucas breathing too loudly. My skin felt too tight for my body. The betrayal was deeper than some fake online romance. I learned that over the next 48 hours, one horrible file at a time, Lucas hadn't just pretended to be connected to Elena. He had created her with help from his fiancée, Jenna Ward, a 31-year-old freelance social media manager. Jenna had done the voice calls. Lucas had written most of the messages. The photos belonged to a real woman named Camila Reyes, a ceramics artist in Tucson who had no idea her face was being used. They had built Elena from stolen pictures, scripted details, and my own weaknesses. Even worse, they used Elena to steer my real life. In September, I had been offered a senior design director role at a firm in Denver. Salary, $165,000 plus bonus. Elena begged me not to take it. I just found you, she said on a late-night call. Please don't move farther away. Lucas, at the same time, told me leaving would end the firm. I stayed. In December, Elena asked me casual questions about the Ralston proposal. What makes your design special? She texted. I love hearing you talk about work. I told her about our adaptive reuse strategy, our cost-saving layout, our green roof concept. 2 weeks later, Lucas submitted a side proposal under a separate LLC called Hale and Ward Concepts. He had been positioning himself to peel away our biggest client, while keeping me distracted and emotionally hooked. Then came the money. The $12,400 I had sent Elena hadn't gone to rent, car repairs, or moving costs. It went into a Chase account tied to Jenna. On February 2nd, Lucas bought Jenna a $9,200 sapphire engagement ring from a jeweler on North Damon Avenue. The receipt was in that tax prep folder. I spent the next week in a fog that felt physical. Food tasted like cardboard. My coffee went cold every morning because I'd forget it was there. I lost 9 pounds in 12 days. At 3:17 a.m., I'd be staring at the ceiling, listening to the radiator hiss, replaying every good night Elena had ever sent. The humiliation was the worst part. I told this fake woman things I hadn't told anyone. I'd sent her photos from my dad's old workshop. I'd let her hear my voice crack on the anniversary of his passing. My sister, Natalie, came over on March 20th and found me sitting on the kitchen floor, surrounded by printed bank statements. Owen, she said softly, crouching beside me. Look at me. I loved a spreadsheet, I said, my throat raw. I loved a folder on Lucas's laptop. She took the papers out of my hands. No, you loved who you thought was a person. That means you're human. What they did means they're not who you thought they were. That sentence stayed with me. The turning point came 3 days later when I saw Lucas and Jenna at a coffee shop in Bucktown. They were sitting by the window, laughing over pastries, Jenna's sapphire ring catching the morning sun like a tiny blue flame. Lucas kissed her hand. My money sparkled on her finger. Then my phone buzzed. Elena, I miss you. Please don't disappear. I stared through the glass at Lucas typing under the table while smiling at Jenna. My fingers curled so tightly around my phone that the case creaked. I didn't reply. For the first time in weeks, the shaking stopped. Something cold and clean settled in my chest. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to document everything. I started with an attorney named Rebecca Shaw, a sharp, calm woman in a gray suit whose office overlooked the Chicago River. I laid out screenshots, bank transfers, company documents, and the LLC filings. She listened without interrupting, then said, Do not confront them again. Do not threaten them. Preserve evidence. We make this boring, legal, and impossible to deny. Can I get my money back? I asked. She folded her hands. Possibly. But the bigger issue is business fraud and breach of fiduciary duty. Next, I hired a digital forensics consultant, Amir Patel, for $4,800. He imaged my phone, archived every message, traced payment accounts, and confirmed that several Elena logins came from our office IP address and Lucas's home network in Wicker Park. I also contacted Camila Reyes, the woman in the stolen photos. My hands were damp when I sent the message. Her reply came the next day. I'm horrified. Yes, you have my permission to use my statement. I want my face out of this. That was twist one Lucas never saw coming. The real woman behind the photos was willing to help me. Twist two came from Jenna's younger brother, Mark. He worked part-time setting up websites, and Lucas had apparently refused to pay him $1,200 for building the fake Elena profile pages. Mark sent Rebecca a folder with invoices, drafts, and one message from Jenna that read, "Lucas says Owen believes anything if you make it emotional." I read that line in Rebecca's office while a siren wailed faintly outside. My jaw clenched until it hurt. Rebecca looked at me. Now we have intent. The plan had 3 parts. First, freeze Lucas out of company accounts by invoking the emergency misconduct clause in our operating agreement. Second, notify the Ralston client with evidence that Lucas had submitted a competing proposal using firm resources. Third, expose the catfish only to the people who legally and professionally needed to know: our accountant, our bank, our top 3 clients, and the Illinois Licensing Board. But I wanted one more thing. I wanted Lucas to admit it while thinking he was still in control. So we set a trap. On April 5th, I texted Elena for the first time in weeks. "I need to see you. I'll bring the rest of the money you asked for. $8,000 cash. Same place you said you'd meet me last summer. Palmer House lobby, Saturday at noon." Almost instantly, the typing bubbles appeared. "Elena, I'm scared." "Me, so am I." "Elena, promise you won't hate me?" I looked at Amir, who was sitting across from me at my dining table, laptop open, the smell of takeout noodles filling the room. "She's logging in," he said. "Same network as Lucas's building." I replied, "Just come." Execution day felt like walking across ice. At 11:15 a.m. on April 6th, I entered the Palmer House lobby, wearing a navy blazer with a tiny recorder clipped inside the inner pocket. Legal in that setting because Rebecca was nearby and had coached me carefully. The lobby smelled like polished wood, perfume, and coffee. Gold chandeliers glowed overhead. Tourists rolled suitcases across the marble floor. Rebecca sat 20 feet away pretending to read a magazine. Amir was near the entrance with a laptop bag. Camila Reyes had joined by video call from Tucson, ready to confirm her identity if needed. At 11:58, Lucas walked in. Not Jenna, not some stranger. Lucas. He wore a black coat and that same confident expression he used in client meetings, but his eyes were scanning the room too fast. My pulse thudded in my ears. He sat across from me. "Where is she?" I asked. He sighed like I was inconveniencing him. "Owen, Elena asked me to come because she's worried about you." I almost laughed. He was still playing it. "Funny," I said, "because her messages are coming from your apartment." His jaw tightened. He leaned forward and lowered his voice. "You don't want to do this in public." "Do what?" "Embarrass yourself." My phone buzzed. Amir had sent one word: recording. Lucas reached into his coat pocket, and for one split second I thought he might leave. Instead, he placed a printed letter on the table. It was supposedly from Elena, apologizing and asking me not to investigate. "She's fragile," Lucas said. "Drop it." I slid Camila's notarized statement across the table. "Her real name is Camila Reyes," I said. "She's on a video call right now." Lucas stared at the paper. His face went blank. The climax happened 2 days later in our conference room. Rebecca insisted on doing it formally. Present were Lucas, Jenna, our accountant Denise, our business attorney, and Martin Greer, the representative from the Ralston project. The air smelled like fresh paper and burnt coffee. My palms were cold, but my voice didn't shake. Lucas came in smiling. "This is ridiculous. Owen had an online relationship go sideways, and now he's trying to turn it into a business issue." Rebecca clicked the projector remote. The first slide showed Elena's profile. The second showed login records from Lucas's home. The third showed bank transfers from me to Jenna's account. The fourth showed the ring receipt. Jenna whispered, "Lucas." He snapped, "Don't." Then Rebecca played the audio from the hotel lobby. Lucas's own voice filled the room. "You don't want to do this in public." Martin Greer slowly removed his glasses. Denise put one hand over her mouth. I looked at Lucas. 14 months, I said. You used my grief, my trust, and my company. Lucas's face had gone gray. I was trying to protect the firm. By stealing from it. Martin asked quietly. Jenna started crying without sound, tears sliding down her cheeks as she stared at the table. Lucas pointed at me. You were going to leave. You were abandoning everything we built. I stood up, and the chair legs scraped loudly against the floor. You could have talked to me, I said. Instead, you invented a person and made me love her. The room went silent. Even the air conditioner seemed to stop humming. Rebecca slid a packet across the table. Lucas, effective immediately, your access to Mercer Hale Studio accounts is suspended pending investigation. Ralston Development has also withdrawn consideration of Hale and Ward concepts. Further action will follow. Lucas opened his mouth, but nothing came out. For once, the man who always had the perfect words had none. The aftermath started quietly, then spread fast. Ralston stayed with my firm after Martin reviewed the evidence and learned I had created the core design. 2 other clients sent supportive emails. Denise helped uncover $31,600 in questionable expenses Lucas had routed through marketing research and consulting. Rebecca filed civil claims for fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, and recovery of funds. The licensing board confirmed they had opened a preliminary review. Lucas's separate LLC lost its registered office when Mark, Jenna's brother, pulled the website and handed over the backups. Jenna moved out of Lucas's place on April 18th. I know because she sent me one short email through Rebecca. I'm sorry. That doesn't fix anything, but I am. I didn't respond. Some apologies are just weather reports. They tell you it rained after you're already soaked. I changed the locks at the office. I removed Lucas's name from the door after the required legal vote. Watching the maintenance guy peel off Hale letter by letter made my chest ache, but it also felt like breathing clean air after months in a sealed room. By June, I renamed the company Mercer Studio. I hired a project manager named Sophia Kim, who organizes files like she's defusing bombs and makes the whole office smell like peppermint tea. We won the Ralston renovation officially on June 27th. I'm not fully healed. I still flinch when a notification pops up late at night. I still hate that Lucas knows the softest parts of me because he dug them out with a fake smile and a borrowed voice. But my condo feels like mine again. My mornings are quieter. I run along the 606 before work, and the city looks different when you're not carrying someone else's lies in your pocket. Last week, Rebecca called with an update. Lucas missed a required response deadline. One of his remaining clients paused their contract. Jenna's attorney has apparently been asking questions about the ring, the bank account, and who really planned what. I stood by my office window after that call, watching the Ralston drawings come off the printer in clean,